I got hired with Head Start a long time ago when I was still developing. I had 3 children, and my 3rd child was 3 months old when I was hired. First of all, I volunteered in my child's classroom, and I had such a good time that later somebody said, well, would you be interested in working here? And I didn't think too much about it. I mean, I was kind of a farm wife. The day I got hired, I was baking bread, and I knew I had to get home so the bread wouldn't burn. And that, of course, was before there was a personnel system. So the director of the program said, is there anyone here who would like to be the teacher? Because the teacher's going to have a baby. And 2 of us raised our hands, and we went out and stood by the fence at the Arley Powwow grounds, and I got voted in. So, and this job, actually, I have learned so much from this job. I'm not going to tell you I was the very best parent, but I've been a much better parent and grandparent because of the position I held and the opportunities it offered me. I am the Early Childhood Services Director, and that encompasses Early Head Start and Head Start, a food program, and I oversee Part B and Part C for the Bureau of Indian Affairs to serve children with disabilities. My son turned 47 in June, and I went to work. I was nursing him, and I went to work when he was 3 months old. So I've been here a long time. I spent 5 years in the classroom where I learned a tremendous amount about myself, about my community, and about kids. I would say there's many people who I've learned things from and have influenced me. 1 year I worked with 11 different staff members. And so I learned a whole lot from kids as well. But I learned new recipes. I was able to put tools in my toolbox if I encountered certain situations with kids or with parents. I went to SKC right off the bat, because the day I got hired, the gentleman who was operating the Head Start program said, you have to get a degree. There's no 2 ways about it. So this is what you're going to do. And I'm here to tell you, I'm here to confess I really don't have a degree, but I have made very good decisions about sending other people to get degrees. Each of my employees have gone to SKC. They have added to their education. They've traveled some. They've added to their experiences, and finally, we could get an education where we lived. That seemed like such an opportunity to me. We are funded through the Office of Head Start, the Native branch of the Office of Head Start. We are funded to serve children throughout the reservation. And Head Start and Early Head Start is a voluntary program. Kids are not mandated to come. We wish we could serve every single family and child. We have obligations to the community and to the parents and to the children of this reservation. We serve Native children and we serve non-Native children, and those children when they graduate from Head Start, they go to the public school together. So it's a good deal. It's a good deal. The more we know about each other, the more education we have, and the more we can communicate, the better chances children will have in developing the skills they need for school readiness. And that really is what we need to do. Develop children's skills so they can go to school prepared, and parents can be prepared to advocate for their child and the children in their community. Well, we are continually doing recruitment. We get the tribal member list of children in our age group, and we send out lots of applications to try to give them an opportunity to participate. We have newspaper coverage. There have been times when we set up in the grocery store or go actually door to door giving out applications. There's like there's criteria. One criteria is income, but we don't rely totally on that. One criteria is tribal affiliation, but again, we are funded to serve. Another one is disability. If a child has a suspected or known disability, then they get a few more points. So there's a total of points they can get for the criteria, and every application is dated, so we know which came in next, and we maintain a waiting list. Well, the last 2 years have been a little difficult because of the COVID, but we are funded to serve 177 3 to 5-year-olds and 90 0 to 3-year-olds throughout the reservation. So we have centers in the larger communities. We have sites in Polson, in Pablo, in Ronan, in St. Ignatius, and Arlee. And we serve both babies and older children in each one of those sites. You've really hit on a key point, and that is that it is the relationship. We were invited quite a few years ago to participate in the Brazelton Touchpoints training, and we learned so much about the importance of having a relationship. If I'm going to give care to your child, you want to know something about me. And if I'm going to give the best care, I need to know something about you. So the relationship is key. We try not to do it in such a way that people think we're gathering information about them, or there's a punitive result. We want to be partners with the parents, and then in turn, when the parents and their children go on to kindergarten, we want to offer the best information so that the school system has information at their hand. And really, if you want to know the truth, I feel like if the school system did some things like we do, they would have better relationships. One time we had a site in Dixon for a couple of years because they had a lot of kids born, and so we had a site there. And people from the community, they'd drive by and they'd see all these cars at the center, and it would be the monthly parent meeting, and they'd come in and eat with us. One time this gentleman thought it was a senior citizens dinner, and so he came in and we said, please go through and have lunch with us. People are interested in what kids are doing in their community. And one time this fellow called me up, and he said, your Head Start bus is going around and around the block. I think they're lost. And maybe they need to know where to go. And here it was, we were offering assistance to someone practicing for their CDL, and they did keep going around and around the block. But the community is a part of what we do. One of the things is we try to meet the family where they are, with no judgment. We have some traditional families in our program, and we have some non-traditional families in our program. We serve people from other reservations that come here to go to SKC or come here to work, and we work hard at valuing everybody's culture, everybody's family. You know, each one of us has our own culture in our house. When the door shuts, then our culture begins, and it's the family culture. So, and there's as many varieties of that as there are other kinds of cultural things. I think that, and I'm going to include myself in this, when I was on the floor teaching, I think that teaching children about culture is critical. And it has to be at their age level. So there are some things that we provide that really aren't for children. They're for their parents or the community. There's some things that we provide that are for children. Storytelling. We'll have someone come in and talk to us about their dancing regalia. And to be honest, that's a way that I can learn more about my culture. And the teachers can learn more about the culture of this reservation. And I don't have to have any excuses about how come I didn't know that, or I can do that kind of in the pretext, I don't know what word that is, the pretense of teaching my children. So we have housekeeping things that children can wear. For years, until the last 2 years, we had every child's foot measured and had a handmade pair of moccasins for every child. We hired people within the community. We bought hides. We bought hides. We were a good customer. And by the time we had our powwow, we tried to have every child, even those enrolled later, because we accept enrollment all the time, a pair of moccasins personally made for them. I know that some families keep those dear to them. Some children may never go to another powwow, but they will remember Head Start and the practice dancing or the person that came in and talked to them about their regalia or the stories they've heard. We have people come in and dry meat. We take our kids to the elders meetings and show off. We do a lot culturally. We do a lot more if we had more speakers. And recently we've lost several speakers to SKC and the projects that they're working on. And I am expecting to get those people back. But, everyone is welcome here. This may be the only place that a child will learn anything about their culture. And it's important. We have sponsored some storytelling in certain communities for families that wish to come. They can come and listen to stories. We've tried to support other agencies and programs in the organization that are providing those things. We've gone to the cultural things at the Medicine Tree, and staff and children. So, we do as much as we can. Well, the very first thing is that the staff or the person telling the story needs to know the age, the developmental level of children. And, some things you don't really delve into. The more violent things are the things where there's not an unhappy ending. But that might be something also that a conversation that you have with children. Pets pass away. A lot of different things happen. And most of the stories have an underlying message. They have a life skill in the story. So, if you look at all those stories about Hansel and Gretel, and there's a lot of things that you think, okay, now how am I going to tell this? How am I going to explain this to a group of children that have already had trauma in their life? We have a curriculum, and in that curriculum there's social and emotional activities. We have a wide variety of subjects that are covered. All different kinds of subjects. We want our kids to be on a level playing field when they go to kindergarten. And we have a lot of work to do yet. I'm the mother of a handicapped child who is older now. And I remember when the school asked me to come and talk about the services my child got, because there were other Native families that didn't participate. And so that was an opportunity for me to develop relationships. And I'm not quite sure that it worked, but we have a high number of children with special needs in our program. And we are looking out for those kids. We are looking out for those kids. I have teachers that have followed those kids even in their elementary years, not followed by working at the school, but checked on them. I've had teachers that go to the elementary school when those kids get off the bus, and rah for you. You're in the big school now. Parents have asked us, can you come with me to this IEP meeting? Because there have been certain things they feel outnumbered. An IEP is an individual education plan is. And so children who have been screened and then evaluated may need some concentrated assistance. And that shows what the school or what the specialists are going to work on. It really demonstrates, okay, we're all going to make a concerted effort for this child succeeding. That's a tough question. That's a tough question because there is trauma around us everywhere. And some of my staff feel like it's traumatic every day when we don't know who has been who has COVID or who doesn't, or who knows someone that have COVID, and so do I have to stay home 10 days because I was a contact and they did contact tracing, and now, that's a specific kind of trauma. We have had children who have been in many foster care families after being in their own family. And so those kids we need to keep an eye on, and we need to offer that family, whether it's their natural family or that foster family, as much support as we can. Being trauma informed, today we spoke about staff that are exhibiting trauma, PTSD, I believe it is, and how can we support them so that their cups are not empty and they can support children. It's a huge problem all over this nation. Mental health services, there's not enough. People distrust them in many cases, and there's a label given to children and families that have those kinds of issues. And in your home of origin, you don't even have to be the one that has those issues to have those follow you. If your original family has some of those things, because people say, oh, their dad, or whatever. Did you read about them in the paper? And the most important thing is to be non-judgmental, because people change and they need a chance. One of the first ways that we try to leverage that is we have parent meetings where they're native families and non-native families, or families that maybe didn't have enough blood quantum to be enrolled. And if they see each other in similar situations, like a parent meeting or at the lunch table with children, that speaks for itself in many cases. In many cases, like we'll have parents come and we do lots of things to get them there. We feed them. With some of them, we provide gas to. Now we're doing Zoom, and we want to provide a mechanism so they can be on. And all their names are in a hat, so they're all equal. And their children, the very best thing we can do is share to families what the children are doing and who their friends are. Because those friendships hopefully will last a lifetime. Well, a couple of the things that we've done recently is we've asked the language learners through the culture committees to participate on a panel. And that was extremely successful. So we had 80-some people in the room, and they asked the questions about, what if I screw up? What if I don't know? Where can I go to get this information? And they were really looking at those students who are learning the language, either STEM students or the language students, the apprentices, as experts. And that's worth its weight in gold. If someone is valued for what they know, and someone else asks them a question that they can answer, that's a very powerful thing. We've done that. We've done simple things like singing the morning song as a staff group, having someone say a blessing before we eat, just those kinds of things that say that we're all human. I think that's really important. I hear a lot about people way back east who thinks there's still teepees and people doing their laundry in the river. That's really important, and we want children to be proud of who they are and proud of their family, their home, all of those things. We want them to be proud of that in the same ways we want the next person to be proud of those same things. Ask questions. Don't be afraid you're going to say the wrong thing. If you're thinking about it, someone else has that same question. Risk a little bit. Risk. Go to the culture committees. Find someone there that you feel like you can trust. There's people that I've visited with after having a certain kind of dream. I wanted to know, what do you think this means? If I need to know, please can I come to the next elders meeting, and we've even fixed lunch and served the elders so that they'd know who they were, they could tell them by sight, and it would drop a lot of the barriers. Well, we have a high percentage of non-tribal teachers. We have not a very large percentage of tribal teachers. Lots of our teacher aides are tribal or their first generation descendants. Our specialists are generally non-tribal, but they've been hired to work in this area. We're working on that. We are working on that. We'd like all of our teachers to know some of the language. We'd like all of our teachers to know about the mountains and have a respect for elders and the woods and fire and all those things that lots of us have grown up not. I knew that I had to do what my grandma said, but I use that same information when I'm at an elders meeting. I shake their hands. I try to serve them something. It's just a matter of a lot of simple things. That changes every day. It changes as students come in and go out. We have a high percentage of our families that are in foster care, and the majority of those are tribal. They are tribal. We offer parenting classes, and oftentimes, you say it's a parenting class, they don't want to go because maybe somebody else is telling them they have to go. We just try to develop relationships so that the teachers can actually talk to the families about how their children are doing. I would like them to know how important their job is. Their job can be critical. And it goes up the line. It doesn't stop with you. A lot of my experiences, because I'm so old, I get them from my children. My son had a really good third grade teacher. But the other third grade teacher, there were 9 kids that couldn't read after they spent a year with her. Now we're behind 2 years. And we have to do whatever we can to catch up, because that's our workforce. Those are the people who are going to be making decisions about all of us. So they're very important. They're critical. Don't quit. Keep developing relationships. sometimes we get filled up to here and we feel like we can't take anymore, go home, take a bath, light a candle. Please come back the next day. It feels insurmountable, but it's not. The kids are worth it. I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Except to say, come and work for us. We have 41 slots to fill. So, the other thing I might say, though, actually, is that we've added people to our classrooms, like grandparents, because we see the value of children that may not have a grandparent. And we've added grandparents and we've added cultural folks to our staff. And a lot of people don't have that luxury. And we're going to have it as long as we can afford it.